Testing. I see live up on the top left.
Emily, if you're online, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right. You can see us as well?
Yep.
Okay. Good.
On YouTube.
Yeah, I didn't. All right. Mandy, I just promoted you. Are you able to hear us?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay, I think we're rocking and rolling. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, we are recording and live and ready to go.
Okay, awesome. Well, good evening. Welcome to the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting for Wednesday, December 14th, 2022. The time is 5:34. Steve, could you please take roll?
Yes, Joe Greer,
Present.
Dom Gelsomino, Jennifer Bobo,
Present.
Ellie Hood, Mike Medellin, present. Keith Bevan, present. John Nesmith, here. Mandy Roberts,
Here.
and Brandon is currently absent.
Okay, our next item, we need an adoption of the agenda.
Madam President,
Commissioner Gelsomino,
I'd like to make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the agenda is adopted. Next, need approval for the minutes of the October 12th, 2022 regular meeting.
Madam President,
Commissioner Gelsomino.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 12th meeting.
Second.
Commissioner Bevan seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the approval of the minutes carries. Next, we have upcoming events. Okay, you're Shelley today with Steve Sidaway, our Meridian Parks and Recreation Director.
Yes, I'm filling in for both Shelley and Rachel tonight, so you get the B team for sure. But we are through our big holiday events. The Christmas in Meridian parade, as well as the tree lighting. Most of you were there. Thank you, Ellie, for bringing your entire family out. That was awesome. And then the Children's Winterland Festival was just this last Saturday, and Joe the Elf was there as well, helping out Santa Claus. So we are, in terms of upcoming events, the one that I have, everyone has a flyer in front of them. It's the Coffee with the Mayor. If anyone wants to come join us, it's next Tuesday, December 20th from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. at Royal Coffee, which is in the village at Meridian, kind of near the fountain there. So it's free, open to the public for anyone that watches us online, but anyone can join us. All the different city directors are there, help answer questions, that kind of thing. So it's just an opportunity to engage with the community, and you're all invited and welcome to join if you can.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for everyone who was involved in Christmas. It was a very cold parade night, but still successful. And the Winterland Festival was a little bit different. This is the first year we've been back since 19. And we had COVID babies, so no one had seen Santa. So we had to coax all of them to his lap. So it was exhausting, but we did make it. And I have a friend who has love stories captured photography into those free photos, and they turned out really great. So just had to throw that in there. Okay, so moving on to old business, we have none. New business, we have the Meridian Parks and Recreation Master Plan update with Art Thatcher from Barry Dunn.
All right, I'm going to do a brief introduction and then I'll have Art come up and give the presentation. So we sent to you as part of the packet a PDF of the draft plan, just so you know it hasn't been beautified, added photos. I mean, we wanted to get the text in your hands as an opportunity for review. Art will go over in a little more detail kind of the highlights of the process that we've been through together over the past year. But, you know, I just looking back, some of the big highlights for me was the public involvement process, which was fairly extensive, including interviews, focus groups, stakeholder meetings. We did our public opinion survey, which he'll talk about, as well as our facilities inventory and analysis of all of the condition of all those facilities. We've worked on cost recovery more recently and taken that to council in the last month. Been updating goals and objectives, which he will hit in some detail tonight. We're looking for any comments, feedback, things that you have seen. Next month, we can come back to you with what should be the final draft that has been glossified and beautified and ready for adoption. But we wanted to bring you this nearly final draft to seek your comments, feedback. We will be looking for a formal recommendation and a motion of this body to the city council, recommending approval and adoption of that document. I think we'll ask for that next month when you have the final in front of you. But this will be the kind of the big presentation of where we're at. And we have Art here in person, not on Zoom from West Virginia or from Virginia, not West Virginia, right? From Virginia. So he is in town this week and wanted to take advantage of that to have him present to you an update of everything related to the draft master plan and seek your feedback so we can finalize the document and come back in a month with the final. So with that, I'll turn this over to Art and I will see if I can figure out how to show his presentation. One second.
Thank you. Welcome, Art.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Commissioners, appreciate the time to come and talk to you about this, the next steps in the process of updating the master plan. As Steve said, we're in the final stages of the master plan. And so we presented last night to the city council and then kind of talking with you. What you have is the meat of the master plan. As Steve said, our editing folks are in the process of putting it in magazine style and doing all of that for the final copy, which should be ready at the first of the year. Oh, I see something. There we go.
Sorry, I have it up, but I know it's in
Slideshow, middle of the top.
I'm in slideshow mode, but here, I can do it from here. There we go. Can you guys see the PowerPoint now on your screens? Okay, excellent.
Great. So I'm going to kind of run through the process and spend a little bit more time on the goals and objectives. When I get to that part, what you'll see are the goals and objectives. What you have in the document also have the action steps to each one of those objectives in there. Just for the sake of time, I didn't want to include all of those and go kind of into that detail. And so you can see we're kind of at the bottom of this process. We started last year in October and have moved through the process through leadership interviews, surveys, our community engagement, we did focus groups, stakeholder meetings, public presentation. Our staff came out and updated the inventory, went back out to all the parks, looked at all the components within the parks, and updated the GIS. We did a level of service analysis, came back and did a findings presentation. We've done an organizational analysis looking at the organization, and now we're kind of in that draft and final plan presentation now. So one of the things that's not on here is embedded in this during the process. We also did, as Steve said, a cost recovery and financial sustainability study. And then we also did the community center feasibility study for the new community center to replace the one downtown as part of this project. So public engagement, we were here in November. We held 6 focus groups, had 39 participants, did interviews with the elected officials and stakeholders, did staff interviews and a SWOT workshop with the staff, did a briefing with you all and got input from the commission. We did tours of the parks and facilities, and then we held an open forum that was held both in person and virtually for another 18 people. And so we asked about strengths, weaknesses, what people would like to see, underserved areas of the community. And then we kind of wrap that up with the focus groups and what were their priorities moving forward out of everything that we had talked about. And the bars indicate the number of times in focus groups that we heard some of these comments. And so connectivity was the number one priority for the focus groups, followed by an indoor facility. Didn't really define whether it was a rec center or a community center, field house, but an indoor athletic facility, additional recreation fields to support the demand, land acquisition, and then managing growth as the community grows and being able to manage the growth of the department and its assets as well. Kind of those top 5. So we took the findings from the focus groups and stakeholder meetings. We developed a needs assessment survey, customized it to the community from the feedback that we'd heard. We mailed out 3,500 sample surveys. We received 312 back. And then after we started receiving the invitation sample back, we opened up an open link so anybody in the community could participate. We got another 378 total from that. So one of the things we asked a lot of questions, but we were able, since we did the 2015 survey, we were able to look at the results of the 2015 compared to the 2021 survey and see kind of how the community's needs have changed with all the growth. So one of the things that we looked at was future needs for indoor facilities. And you can see that in 2021, community rec center, recreation center was the number one priority. Indoor aquatic facility was the second, followed by a field house, performing arts center, and then an ice rink. And you can see that in 2015, those were in similar order. You can see that the indoor aquatics center in 2015 was a little bit higher priority than the community recreation center, but still kind of in that same order. So we also asked about outdoor facilities, and pathways and trails was the number one, both in 2021 and in 2015. And then in 2021, making improvements to existing facilities, the amenities and those things, shade and sorry, there's a glare on here. Shade structures in the park, playgrounds, lights on the outdoor athletic fields, and then new parks kind of in that top 5. You can see they were similar to 2015. However, shade was the number 2 priority in 2015. And the department's done a lot to address shade in the parks since that time. So it'd be a good reason why it's kind of dropped down. So then one of the things that we kind of wrap up the survey with is we asked the participants that if you had $100, how would you spend that in $5 increments on a list of programs and projects that we had identified through the process. And so you can see that like the priorities for outdoor, that they would spend the majority of the money on pathways, adding more pathways, almost twice, almost $20 compared to $15 for the next, almost $15 for the next one, of making improvements to and renovating existing facilities, expanding aquatics being the number two, adding new parks, and then that recreation center with gym space and related activities in that top five. You can see that expanding aquatics was the number one thing that the community was looking for in 2015, followed by pathways, and then making improvements and then expanding programs for those top five in 2015. So there's been a shift in how they would allocate funding for those projects. So as I said, we were here in 2015. We did an inventory of all the amenities within the parks and their amenities. This is just, I don't expect you to be able to read all of this, but what I just wanted to illustrate is that we went back through, verified what the inventory that we had done in 2015, and then updated to those new facilities, those new amenities that have been added to the system. So we've got an updated inventory of everything that you have, all the components within each park. And then we also did other service providers. We inventoried those and then looked at schools, inventoried those components on the schools, on the outside of the schools that the community can use. And then we also looked at HOAs and private facilities, and looked at the number of outdoor pools that were available, basketball courts, all of those things that were available to HOAs and private facilities. So we looked at, again, we were able to kind of look at the change from 2015 to 2022. You can see you had, at the time of the inventory, you had about a 30,000 person increase in population. The city limits have grown from 18,000 acres to 23,000 acres. You've increased from 21 parks to 25 parks. Total number of components has increased from 207 to 256. So really increasing those opportunities for the community to recreate and to do those things. And then the grass scores also increased as all the components did. And so what we did, we also updated the atlas. So we GIS all of your all the parks, and then we go in and we identify and tag all of the components within those. And we also look at a quality score for those. We do a 1 to 3 scoring. So a 1 is that the component is not functioning the way it's designed to function, may need to be replaced or may need repairs. A 2 is that it's functioning the way it was designed to function, may need just some TLC, some regular maintenance. And then a 3 is that it's above. So it may be a brand new playground that you've installed, brand new backstop, brand new picnic shelter, something along those lines. And so we're able to pull off all of those 1s and provide those as kind of the low hanging fruit to start with that maintaining what you currently have. And so kind of as staff go through and look at the parks and those things, they kind of report those observations that they see. And they were all, good for the community, which was really, not unexpected on my part, knowing the department and the way that they do things. The parks are very consistent, across the board as far as quality and components, numbers of components. They're very well maintained at a high standard. Restrooms are, probably the cleanest that we've seen in systems around the country as we do these. I mean, it really commendable. Noted that most of the parks have public art, which is good. You've added bike repair stations to many of the parks. The turf conditions are excellent. And for the amount of play that you have, the staff does a really good job of keeping it maintained at an excellent condition. And that there are, some things that are, high priorities, planting trees have been a priority as part of that shade program. And so, those are beginning to mature since 2015. And so we mapped all of the facilities, including the schools and the other service providers and the HOAs to give us a visual of, where residents can have access to recreation components. And then we began to look at to kind of do a heat map of where walkability is. And we've kind of used the national average now as a 10-minute walk to a recreation component. And you can see the purple color is where the community has access to as a 10-minute walk to a number of recreation components. And then the yellow is that more access to fewer components, but still a 10-minute walk to at least one outdoor recreation component. And the impressive thing is that 100%, 99% of your community has walkable access, a 10-minute walkable access to at least one recreation component. And as we look at those components, some of them are, the majority of them are the city's components. We also, and as I said, included the schools and HOAs in that walkable access. And so this again begins to kind of look at, where we have that access to outdoor recreation and pulls out the HOAs and the schools. And we still see that there's a large component to 91% of the community has access to those outdoor recreation components within a 10-minute walk. And so we take all of that data, we pull it together and we kind of start looking at what are those recurring themes that we've heard through the process. And so continuing to create a connected community through pathway development, maintaining quality maintenance, your level of service, and the funding to continue that maintenance, finding future locations for parks to stay ahead of future development and in underserved areas of the community, keeping up with the future changes in demographics to make sure that we're staying ahead of growth, looking at a community center, recreation center, one of the community's highest priorities for an indoor facility, pathways and trails, it's the greatest need for outdoor facilities. Shade and communication were the top two areas that we asked about what would increase your use and participation. And so shade and communication were those top two. And then we asked about communication, how you would like to receive information. And email and social media were the top two best ways that the survey respondents wanted to learn about programs and services. And so from there, we began to develop goals, objectives, and as I said, action steps. And so we've got 4 goals in the 2015 plan, and we've got 4 goals in this update in 21. And so, the first is to continue to improve organizational efficiencies. And so continuing to maintain your existing level of service, that 4 acres per 1,000 residents, enhancing and improving internal communication regarding department activities and services, maintaining your existing quality standards for facilities and amenities, utilizing technology to improve customer service and efficiencies, increasing potential partnerships within the community, and then staffing appropriately to meet the demand and to maintain your established level of service. So the second goal is to maintain and improve your facilities and amenities. And so maintaining and improving your existing facilities, expanding pathways and connectivity, adding an indoor recreation space, developing new amenities at new and existing parks based on the level of service analysis, acquiring new land for parks, and then evaluating the parking at parks events and scheduled activities. So then we look at maintaining and improving your facilities and amenities. And this is kind of the second piece of that. And so continue to monitor your ADA needs. When we were here previously, we had talked about doing an ADA transition plan, which the department has done. They've addressed all the issues in that transition plan. And so now it's just a matter of keeping up with your existing facilities and maintaining that ADA as you build new facilities. Upgrading comfort, convenience, and customer service amenities within your existing facilities. And those are shade, restrooms, storage, those type things. Creating park identities in existing and new parks. You've got a good branding and throughout the park system. So maintaining that identity and keeping that up as the new parks are developed. Addressing current and future needs for athletic fields. Consider programming needs when adding new components to existing parks and when developing new parks. So making sure that as we're looking at the development of those parks, that we're looking at those programming needs within the community and within that region. Maintaining the component-based inventory and level of service analysis. It's the inventory that I showed you earlier. And then continuing to maintain the life cycle replacement plan. And so the third goal is around continuing to improve programs and service delivery. And really the main objective is continuing to address recreational programming and activity needs for the community. And then there are a number of action steps underneath that about aquatic programming and athletics and cultural programming and those things. So really kind of breaking that down more in the action steps than in the objective. And then the final is the increasing financial opportunities. So increasing your special event and activity sponsorships, evaluating the impact fee ordinance, doing that on a regular basis, pursuing grants and philanthropic opportunities, and then implementing the cost recovery and pricing policy that was done as part of this master plan. And so those are the four goals and the objectives that go along with that. And as I said, all the action steps are in the master plan. They're both in the executive summary as well as in the body of the master plan. So happy to answer any questions you might have.
I was going to throw in for the commissioners, in addition to any questions that may come out of the PowerPoint presentation itself, if you had any comments or questions from the document itself, we're happy to take any and all of those as well.
Madam President.
Commissioner Smith, sorry.
Hey, Art, I had a question. Do you guys analyze, because I know some of the parts of the city are not served with like pathways and sidewalks and that kind of stuff. And I really don't know where they all are, but is that a part of your process that you maybe give the department direction? Because I know we have some stuff directly east of us, neighborhood that way. And I think maybe to the north and south, over by the Meridian pool. And if you've identified and then other areas that need more of that connectivity.
So the city has done kind of its own pathways plan. And so we've looked at the pathways plan and looked at it related to kind of our inventory and level of service analysis. And we have some analysis of that within the plan and some recommendations for expansion that coincides with that plan.
Okay, thank you.
I did have a question. The
Yes.
population numbers that you had, or what were those based off of?
They were taken through Esri is the system that we use.
It's not sensitive. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Well, Art and his team at Meridian, formerly Green Play, are actively working on finalizing the document. If you do have any specific comments on content, we're trying to get this finished, by January. So, maybe before Christmas, if they have something to send. And if there's not, I'm not pushing, if it, we've done a lot of work on it, so I'm happy to take, it looks great as well, but I also want to give you the opportunity to provide input and feedback that's needed or meaningful for you. So let me know if you think more time is needed, but we'd really like to zero in on any final comments within the next, week or so that we can get final comments to Art and then have a final draft for your next meeting.
Prison.
Yes, Commissioner Robo.
In that draft, in that final document, will it have the rating of each of the parks? You said that you rated them 1, 2, and 3 for the different amenities. Will that be in there?
Yes.
And how
The-
many
the
of
at-
them?
The atlas isn't in there just because it's thick. It's provided as a staff document. But the ratings of the park and the grades for the parks are in that.
I believe the full thing will be in the appendix usually. I think it was
Yes.
last time. So there's a very thick appendix that goes with the document. And if you want to see both, we're happy to share.
Do you happen to recall how many of them were a 1? Were there?
None of your
No.
parks are a 1.
Good to know.
See, we just like to makes us proud, right?
That's right.
To be part of Meridian Parks.
Well, I was thinking through the timing of it, of when you did it versus when we did the Chateau Park. I'm not sure when, because I know that one was replaced. Steve, you probably know the answer to that.
Yeah, the playgrounds. So the playground was aging. So none of the parks overall were a 1. I think there might be, I don't know if there might be some ones scattered here and there on a specific amenity.
Individual
Um,
components within the park.
But overall scores were all higher than that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great system. I use you guys as examples as I work around the country all the time. So.
Good to know.
It's also exciting is starting on the commission way back when we did have a shade issue. And so to see that that is something, because it was around maybe 15 when I came here. So it's exciting to see the growth and first trees grow too. So this is kind of, I don't know, it's multifaceted, the information that you provide, because it not only shows us what's going to happen, but what has happened. I appreciate it.
Feel free to take a look at the documents that we've sent as part of the packet. If you have any comments, if you could send them by the end of next week, we'll get those on to Art. We like to do it before Christmas so it don't mess up your Christmas. But I know it's also a busy time between now and then, but take a look. It's in pretty good shape. There are some things that we're tweaking even internally that we've found, but it's rapidly getting to final stage. So. Yep.
Thank you, Art.
Great.
Have a
Thank you
safe-
very much. Appreciate it. Have a good Christmas.
and Merry
Thank
Christmas.
you.
Okay. Right, with that, we are going to move on to the 2023 Meridian Parks and Recreation Commission elections. I have scripts. Emily's listening. Be proud of me.
Good job.
I didn't even ask you for it, and I went and found it. Before I do start, I did want to say, in the future, so we hold the elections every December for the following year. So if anyone's ever interested, to please reach out, because we don't know unless you say something. And we try to keep it that way so that we don't actually get into a situation where it's a stressful election, right? It's just an opportunity to be able to have some leadership time. Okay. So I will now read the script. The next order of business is election of officers. The Meridian City Code directs us to hold elections at our December meeting. Our bylaws state that the officers of the commission shall include the commission chair and commission vice chair. Our bylaws also state that the commission vice chair shall be automatically nominated for the position of chair. Keith Bevan, therefore, is our first nominee for the office of chair. Are there any other nominations for the office of chair? Seeing that there are none, Keith Bevan has been nominated for the office of chair. Okay, this is going over itself. Are there any other nominations? So now the nominations for chair are now closed.
Good.
Is that right? Does that sound right?
Good. Yes.
Okay, it kind of doubled itself. I will now take nominations for the floor of the office of vice chair. And it's okay if I make a nomination, correct? Okay. I would like to nominate Mandy Roberts as the vice chair for 2023.
Madam President,
Commissioner Gelsomino.
I'd like to second that motion.
Okay, Mandy Roberts has been nominated and seconded. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, the nominations for vice chair are now closed. I propose that we vote on these nominations as a slate and by acclamation, since both nominees are running unopposed. Is there a motion to elect Keith Bevans as chair and Mandy Roberts as vice chair for 2023?
Madam President,
Commissioner Gelsomino.
I'd like to make a motion to elect Commissioner Keith Bevan as chair of the Parks and Recreation Commission and Mandy Roberts as vice chair of the Parks and Recreation Commission by acclamation. For 2023, by acclamation.
Can I get a?
Sorry, Emily.
No, you're good.
That was perfect.
All right, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Bobo seconds. All in favor or?
Aye.
Aye. I guess that works as a vote. Any opposed? Okay, it has been moved and seconded and voted by saying aye. So congratulations, Chair Keith Bevans and Vice Chair Mandy Roberts for the 2023 commission. Yay. Okay,
Thank you both for being willing.
yes. Well. Yeah, exactly. The second or the third, I guess the third item on new business, but item number 5. We have a brainstorm of the 2023 all commission goals with Steve Sidaway.
Right. Test. Okay. Since we do not have Rachel here to run the system of voting, which some of you know and love, some of you know and hate, and some of you don't know. If we want to go through that voting process, we would propose to postpone that till next month. However, I did come prepared with, let me share my screen. So this will come up on your screens. This will work. Do you guys have the 2022 all commission goals up on your screen right now?
Yes.
Okay. So I have those unaltered on this first page. And what I've done on the second page is taken them and done kind of a red line version of kind of a first draft starting point to talk about of some things that we see that can make sense. So I'll just walk through those and then I welcome any discussion along the way. But number 1, support the construction of Discovery Park Phase 2. It will be ongoing through all of 2023. So I think that's a great goal to keep on for the next year. Number 2, support the development of a connected pathway system across the city of Meridian with a focus on developing projects for future construction. As we just saw, that was the number 1 priority from our citizens for outdoor recreation needs. So again, having it high on the goal list makes sense. Item 3, participate in the design and programming of a new community center. While we've done kind of a basic feasibility study with Barry Dunn and Art Thatcher's team, There's a lot of work yet to come. Just to give you a quick update on that process, we are in the middle of reviewing and selecting an architect to move forward with for conceptual design and design development and eventually construction documents for in this coming year. So I think that keeping that community center as a high priority makes some sense. Number 4, it was support the development of the master plan update, which you just heard an update from Art about. We're getting close to finalizing it. So I just changed support to finalize as a goal that should come very early next year, maybe even next month. Item 5 is about identity and theming. To participate in the partnership with the Arts Commission and add theming and identity, reinforcing art in our parks and along pathways. And then I added focus this year on Seasons Park because we did receive budget to do a theming and identity art project at Seasons Park this coming year. And there was a draft just presented to the Arts Commission, I think last week or so, right, Mike?
Yep, correct. And that's coming back in January to you guys.
Yep.
We also have a Arts Commission's going to kick off an art project in Discovery Park. So I don't know, maybe we want to,
Yeah.
if we're talking art, maybe throw that in.
What about the one at Ustick, the pathway trailhead at Ustick and 10 Mile?
Yes,
Oh, yes.
that is active. You need an update on that. I don't think you've seen it. That'll be January as well.
10 Mile
Good idea.
Trail Hub. So there we go. We're editing on the fly. So focus this year on Seasons Park, 10 Mile Trail Hub and Discovery Park as multiple locations for that partnership to be active. Support future improvements at Lakeview Golf Course is number 6. We gave an update on irrigation projects and things like that. Mike did an update to council just last night, but there are future amenities coming for the clubhouse that we'll be talking about out at the golf course that may make sense to talk about. Number 7, pursue improved tools and opportunities to engage citizens and stakeholders. I'm always looking for new and better ways to do outreach. I crossed off number 8 because it is the ULI pathway project, which happened in August of this year. We're still awaiting the final report. I don't know if there's been any update, but we do check in with them regularly. They're working on it and we would expect to see a final report soon in the coming months. But the actual workshop itself is done. We just need the final report. So I think that can come off. Number 9 was getting the feedback from this commission. And it was Chateau Park and Bear Creek Park. You guys did weigh in on those. Chateau Park is now nearly complete. There are some additional amenities to get added, but the playground itself is done. Bear Creek Park is designed, so there's not really a design for you to weigh in on, but the construction will kick off this spring. We can keep Bear Creek Park on just to, have you keep tabs on the construction project, but this seemed to be focused on design, and we do have design funds for this next year for Tully Park. So we'd really like your focus on designing a new playground at Tully Park. Number 10 is about the pool and taking it over. So I just tweaked the wording in there, discuss and provide input on efforts to, instead of assess and take over, which we've now assessed it and taken it over this last year, but now it's in management mode with Garrett at the head of that operation. And makes sense to just change that from the takeover to managing the operations, I think. The last 2 are to engage with other task forces, commissions, entities, and agencies through workshops. You guys get periodic updates from other cities, other agencies, and we'd like to continue to do that as it makes sense. And then to continue to foster greater commission involvement, presence in community events whenever appropriate. The parade was a great example, and we had a great turnout from the commission and participation in that, and really appreciate your commitment to that event in particular and others as opportunities come up. So at this point, I'll just ask for any feedback on these draft changes and ask if there is anything else missing that you think ought to be added.
Madam President,
Bevan.
just a couple thoughts on 1 and 6. Discovery Park Phase 2, I assume that encompasses skate park and bike park and pretty much everything, but I don't know if it's worth putting more detail in there about different, maybe things we can do to help. I don't,
Those are the active components. So
and yeah, and kind of the same thing with Lakeview Golf Course. So there's specific things that we can help with other than just support, I don't know. To me, it sounds kind of.
It's good.
So we can think about it.
Yeah.
I don't know what my
Drafted some
suggestion is.
wording
I'm just
in
asking.
there. Yeah.
So.
Mandy's got her hand raised. Oh, sorry, not to take over, but Madam Chair, Mandy, she has her hand raised, so.
Fine.
Okay. Well, I had a thought actually with number 1 that Keith was just speaking to. I wonder, since we don't quite have the design completely finalized for all of the Discovery 2 elements, yeah, maybe it could be support the design and construction of. And for number 4, I just thought, would it be appropriate to add, finalize the development of the comprehensive park system master plan update and support ongoing implementation efforts or something like that? Yeah, just because, we have a plan and now we have things we got to do. So, great, thanks.
Excellent. Love it. Any other thoughts, comments, questions?
I think Commissioner Bevan had an additional on number 6, right, for the
Well,
golf
just-
course? Just to add.
It was the same as the first one. Is there anything specific that as the commission we can help focus on? And I don't know what that is, but if so, then we can.
Clubhouse improvements? Would you do any improvements?
Yeah, that might be a good one. I mean, I don't know how much, I don't think as the commission will have much input on the irrigation system and things like that, but the more the aesthetic design like we do with the parks and some of that stuff, maybe with the clubhouse might be good. Yeah.
Mike, do you just want to talk about that briefly, what you see coming for the golf course?
Yeah, so, great thought that you're on the parks tour. We had some project boards set up at the golf course of just an idea of what we can do to renovate some of those spaces and new furniture and floor coverings. And so that's kind of our next big thing out there would be those design elements, furniture, patio coverings, planter boxes. That we need help. We need your input so we get it right.
Madam President,
Commissioner Smith, sorry.
number 6, should that include maybe a course of action workshop, round of golf, after hours party to really
I'd like to s-
effectively
I'd like
give
to second
y'all
that.
some good input? I mean, just saying, it might be a good idea.
Research and development field
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah,
I mean,
R&D.
the sun angle, shade. I mean, there's some serious things to consider.
I like it.
Team building, it could
Team
encompass a
building.
lot of things here.
Put it on there.
I'm in. so.
For it.
Or could we do our team building exercise there? We could golf.
We can look into that.
We just
Okay.
use a putting green.
I mean, it could check off other goals.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Could be maybe the picnic location or something.
Yeah, I like that.
Any other comments or changes? These are great.
So I now understand what you had mentioned about rather than having to score these, that they're kind of in a decent order and the revision.
Yeah, we have kind of two options at this point once we come up with the draft list. Option one is we can then continue this to the January meeting and go through a scoring exercise. Or if there's general agreement that this looks good, we could accept just a motion and approval of these as edited tonight.
Anyone like to entertain a motion?
Madam President,
Commissioner Gelsomino.
I'd like to make a motion that, I guess, how would we word this? To approve the
2023.
2023 all commission goals as currently revised and edited.
That's fine.
I will second that emotion, Madam President. Second that motion.
Commissioner Roberts seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, that works great. We will have these updated commission goals on your January agenda.
No, Keith doesn't have to do it.
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay. Moving on to the workshop, we have none, so we have staff reports. Who wants to go?
Well, I'll kick it off by saying Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And we have a tradition of giving the commission a small Christmas gift. You have your card in front of you tonight. Supply chain issues got in the way of having our Christmas gifts here tonight. They're supposed to be here on Friday. But so we will be reaching out to see if there's a chance of you swinging by City Hall to pick it up, or if we can, drop it off to you. But you'll just have to wait and be surprised because they are not quite here. But Merry Christmas in advance. And we've talked a little bit about the parade already. I just wanted to say that, coming out of COVID and being able to do all of the events this year was wonderful. We did actually get to have the parade last year, but we did not do the Children's Winterland Festival. And 2 years ago, we only had the tree lighting. So it was really nice to have those events come back. And the crowd, it was amazing to do the parade from the float because to see the thousands and thousands of people that came out to view the parade was just wonderful. One of the things we're wrestling with that we may want to talk about, but a lot of the logistics are more at the staff level, but it really does snarl traffic, as you probably saw on holding it on a Friday night. One of the questions is, why don't we just move it to Saturday night? Because Saturday night would be a lot better in many respects. The main reason why we haven't is because that Saturday night is the Caldwell Christmas night parade. And most of the floats that are in our parade are also in their parade. So they take all the time to decorate it, do all the lights and the generators, and then they, take those to, more than one parade. So it's not an easy solution. Another solution is to keep it on the same night and work with ACHD to try and keep Franklin Road specifically open longer and closer to parade time through the commute. I'm not sure that we'll get, authorization to do that because there are challenges with closing the road at dark or after dark. So we're wrestling with that a little bit, but our event has grown to the point that we need to ask some of those questions again.
Steve, I have a question. I did get some maybe nasty texts from some people about traffic, but I was on the stage. However, most people know that the parade is the first Friday, but for those that don't, is there a way, how there's the reader board on the freeway? Is there a way to get kind of the word out ahead of time. Like I get messages from, I don't know if it's ACHD or ITD, but I
Yeah.
get text messages if there's something.
I know it's been used in past years. I believe it was on this year, but I don't know that. So I will have to reach out to ACHD and ITD to see if they activated that or not. But people don't usually see it and know about it until they're actually, coming up to it anyway. So it doesn't allow them
And
to
Amber, we
plan
have
for a different
Amber
route
Alert.
home or anything like that
Yeah.
by that
Yeah.
time. That's one of the main pain points that we're kind of feeling right now that we're trying to assess.
Madam President,
Commissioner Bevan.
like I'm opening a can of worms here, but if the issues with Franklin Road, and obviously the Speedway is the absolute perfect place to stage all the floats, but is that part of the equation? Is there a different place that could be staged and it takes a different route that doesn't have to cross Franklin? And I don't know what vacant lots or huge parking lots there. I mean, I'm not aware of any. And,
We've looked for that. We haven't found
but yeah, okay.
Madam President, I was exactly, you read my mind because this whole time I was thinking, would it be the parking lot behind City Hall that's in front of the veterans?
Yeah. We need something much, much larger than that. We could stage in Kleiner Park and shut down Fairview and Eagle. I'm joking. If anyone's watching.
We'd have a town riot.
I
That's
kind of,
not going to happen.
I kind of feel like it is a communication thing, honestly. Like if you don't have some way of hearing about what's happening, that's when people get frustrated. Otherwise they plan for it. I mean, I know my brother texted me last year. And so this year I said, hey, the parade's happening. Don't take Franklin. So
Yeah, I mean, I got a
mean-
phone call. I drove in it myself. I saw it, I experienced, I know that the comments are real and true.
yes, it is.
They're not making it up. And so anyway, just know we don't have to solve it tonight, but just know that we're talking about it and looking for solutions. Don't know
Personally, I don't want to move it from.
from the night that it's on.
No.
Okay.
I like.
Madam President,
But
The-
yes, Commissioner. Okay.
you go ahead.
Madam President. On that lines, next year, can we get a little heads up of what roads are closed if we move it or change it or don't move it or change it to tell us which way we can
get
get
there?
to the meeting point? Because
Yeah.
that was a pain point for me personally this last.
Honestly, it was for me too, because I used to come down Meridian Road and down Franklin and in, and should have remembered it because it was closed the same way last year. But yeah, once I realized I've got to go down Locust Grove to get down to Water Tower to get into Story Park, and then Water Towers, moving at a snail's pace because of the Main Street. Anyway, that is currently the best route is to get on Locust Grove.
I could not figure it out. I parked blocks and blocks away and just walked over
Yeah.
because I tried
We will,
and got
I had
stuck
that
every
thought a
different
little
way.
too late as I was experiencing the same pain point myself. And I'm like, yeah, we should recommend a route to get there and leaving an hour and a half early.
Did they have a map that went out that they normally do with? the
Oh, yeah, there's a map of the
closures
parade
on the
route.
map?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw the map, but it didn't help me on the road closures to get to where I needed to go.
Yeah. So we know it's a real thing. We're looking at it. I don't know, there's not going to be a silver bullet, so we'll continue to turn over rocks and see if there's a better solution out there.
Thank you. I did want to add to that this year, Jaime was new with the volunteer coordination and he did a really good job of having volunteers, not just for the parade, but also for, we have to fluff the trees. So we had help with that. He was organized, he had name tags. Renee, of course, was directing all of this and she was sick during most of this. So she was a trooper, but I'll tell you, it felt like it was probably the most organized year. And then, of course, this Parks and Rec staff who come out and help set everything up. with a, not really a smile always, but it's really appreciated that they were there, because we need help getting things up on the stage. And so even though it might not mean a ton, it is, I can't even say enough about how grateful I am that they were there and just how smooth it went this year. And it was cold. It was really
Second
cold.
that. It was frustrating getting there, but once I got there, it was wonderful just showing up at the pool and having a warm place to be, and there were snacks, and it was the festive mood and having the float all done, and it was perfect.
Yeah, like getting there was the pain point, and once you made it to the float, the rest of it was just
Perfect.
awesome, actually. Yeah, I thought it was a great event. My hat's off to Renee and the entire team. I know it's not just Renee, but Renee is at the head of a very large team of elves that help put that on. So I'm very grateful for all that they do.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
yep, that's,
And Shelley, of course.
and Shelley.
I guess not being said. Okay. Done gushing.
Yeah, as soon as you start naming names, there's always more to add.
I-
Shelley,
There's a whole
Amy,
list.
keep going.
Cassie,
All
help
the parks
on
crew. Yeah.
stage, which thank goodness, yeah. And then I had friends that came and helped me because people are afraid to volunteer on the stage with me. Sorry. So,
That's all I have at this point. We can go to Mike and then Garrett.
Sure, thanks. So Discovery Park, skate park, bike park, we were hoping we could come back with a revised bike park design. At this meeting, didn't work out. We had to go through a little bit of a redesign to bring it back into budget. So we'll bring that back in January at the January meeting. It was significantly over, more than they were talking, so we had to change some things. So it's different. It's cool. It's gonna be good. It's just different, and we'll kind of a reset there. And then also Seasons Park theming, identity and theming. We have something to show. Cassandra will be here in January to show you that. And for those of you that don't know, Kim is no longer with the department. She took a position with the city of Boise, kind of doing the same thing. It's a new position. It's a pathways manager in the planning department that is, her role is going to be working on a plan similar to ours on putting pathways on canal banks, which Boise really doesn't have a lot of. They have the foothills and the greenbelt. And so now there's a whole new push to do canal banks. So that's going to be Kim. Her last day was December 2nd, I think. And start with the city of Boise after the first of the year. So I'm pathways person for the time being, where and we're kind of changing that a little bit to more construction manager, pathways, leaning person. So that'll open up soon. We'll do interviews and get the new Kim here soon, hopefully. And then, so in the meantime, we've got the pathway that's by the wastewater treatment plant, segment D, we've been calling it for years. That goes from McNeilis out to Quartet subdivision between 10 Mile and Black Cat, that final connection there. Getting really close to putting that out to bid. We've worked with ACHD to cost share on their portion that they're responsible to build for their developing their maintenance yard. So we got to put a bridge in over 9 Mile Creek and then go through the ACHD property and then onto the Quartet subdivision, which will connect into another bridge that we cost shared with Brighton Corporation on. So we've got that really close to bidding. The other thing is the trail alongside the rail corridor over on from 3rd Street, and it kind of goes down and then loops back out to Broadway. That's been in the works for quite a long time. That's going to, we have a scope of work. We're negotiating fees with Keller and Associates to start design on that. And that's a federal aid project that is going to kick off soon. It's going to be administered with ITD and LTAC, which is a local highways transportation authority. So that one's in the works, and we got to do a property exchange and some other things, and we got to rezone something. And so there's a lot of moving parts and pieces there. It'll be good to, but that's exciting. So that's been a long time coming, waiting for the piece of the FOCAF property to pay off their bond so they could actually trade a piece of property with us and that. So we're finally there. The other thing that's kind of in the works, and we have something ready to go. We'll see what the agenda looks like in January. So maybe the next month is to do a pathways workshop. And we have a revised map that shows completed segments and what's in the works and what's changed. Some of the changes are, north side of a canal or drain, south side kind of thing. But I think probably February, we should do a pathways workshop, and that's kind of ready to go. Kim did that she got it all queued up kind of the last week, but it's with all the other things. We'll look at the agenda. So anyway, that's on the list. We need to do a pathways workshop and get a recommendation on the revised plan. So that's what I got.
Yeah. It is sad that Kim left. She lives in Boise, so I think it's a better,
Yeah, it's
For her.
she can ride her bike to work, and it's good. Happy for her.
We were sorry to
Sad for us.
lose her, but she's leaving for all the right reasons. It's a great opportunity for her, and it's a great fit for her. So we're happy to see her have an opportunity that, fits for her so well. And we're sad to see her go at the same time. So, yeah.
It's double-edged.
All right, I think it's my turn. So, Steve mentioned the Christmas parade and everything else. I was actually sick with COVID for a week during the Christmas parade. So everybody else got through it though. It worked out great. And like Steve said, we're proud of Renee, and, grateful for everything that she does for us. But recently what I've been working on is just a review of the RFQs for the architectural services for the community center. Been doing a lot of work with that. Working with a different group regarding kind of a light pole study for the Mo Brooks ball field, just to kind of check out those poles to see how much life they have left and life expectancy on those. Working with Art and this team regarding some of the master plan review stuff. Working with finance regarding the FY22 and 23 pool budget, and kind of seeing where we are with that. Some of the numbers are kind of skewed because we didn't have a full year of the pool. Just because we took it over in March and all the way through October, obviously, but still learning a lot about that. Doing a lot of efficiency work in our office in regards to reporting. Some of the reports that we sent out each week, or I say we, it's all Kayla and Jeanette. They send out reports to all of our staff, and it takes up 5 to 6 to 8 hours or more a week of their time just sending reports out for shelter reports, field reports, and reservations and things like that. So we're trying to come up with using our technology and come up with some efficiencies to where it cuts that in half, if not almost eliminates it, just based on some of the reports that we have to do that can automatically be generated through our recreation software called Rec One right now, or Civic Rec. With that, I'm also kind of exploring other options in recreation software that's out there. We've kind of had some demos with 4 others, just to kind of see what is there, see if anything else is bigger, brand new, less expensive, more expensive, those types of things. So right now we still have Rec One, and we don't really have any intention of leaving Rec One, but we just want to see what else is out there. So we're doing a lot of that stuff. Also working with Ward and some of the pool contracts that are out there still. And just trying to get them all switched over to us and or void them, one of the two. So A lot of pool stuff still, even though there's snow on the ground. So that's a lot what I've been up to. You guys have all heard what Renee's been up to regarding Christmas and the parade and the Winterland Parade and stuff like our Winterland Festival and the volunteers, classes and camps. We have a new activity guide that's coming out, or that's came out. And we also have all the instructor contracts that Jen has been working on. Sports, we have the volleyball league that just filled up with 136 teams, I believe, for volleyball. And then basketball wise grew as well. We capped it just because we don't have any gym space now that it's all full with our league stuff. So volleyball is 136. I want to say basketball was 40 plus teams. So, and then obviously the holiday classic today, Maggie got all the presents wrapped with the helps of a lot of volunteers and things like that. And they were delivered to the school, the Head Start program right across the street here. And they start divvying them out to the homes themselves. So that was a undertaking itself.
Well, I was just going to add to that on separate gift giving effort of the angel tree that's out here. We had a great showing of gifts from the city employees and others who may have taken a tag off the tree and just brought in a gift for the Salvation Army and families in need. And I got to deliver my truck was loaded in the back and the back seat and the front passenger seat. And that was a lot of fun to get to drop that off to the Salvation Army on Monday. So many thanks to all those who helped contribute it to our angel tree efforts this year as well.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Arts and culture, like Mike had said, they're doing the identity for the parks. She's doing a lot of stuff with the Meridian Arts Commission itself, the Historic Preservation Commission, Initial Point Gallery receptions. The pool is getting a mural. So that went through council and through a consent agenda, I believe, and all approved. So that project will hopefully be done in April, May, pending weather. We just want the mural to be up on the east side of the pool, if that makes sense, on the east side of the building there. They hope to have it done and up and ready to go before the season opens, Memorial Day-ish, first part of June, so that that's the main entrance to the pool for swim lessons and things like that. So
I was just going to comment that I think the commissioners will be familiar with that because I think we stopped at that wall and talked about the mural that's coming as part of the parks tour back in September.
correct. Yeah. So you guys should be familiar with the wall there. So pretty cool design that they worked on and got out. So I think it'll look sweet. It'll look pretty cool there. So so with that's what's going on. A lot of stuff happening in recreation.
There is. Hopefully you guys get a little bit of a break. Somewhere now. It just goes to the next year, right? Okay, well, thank you. I think that is it for staff reports. So, and before we adjourn, so our next meeting is January 11th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. Congratulations to Keith and Mandy. We're running it. You won't be able to listen to me. With that, I will take a motion for an adjournment.
Madam
Hey,
President.
before that, can I just put on the record how much we've appreciated Joe being our president for the last 2 years in a row. So thank you, Joe.
Agreed. Like it. Thank you. You're awesome.
Madam President,
Commissioner Chelsea.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. Here.
Second.
I'll second.
Commissioner Bobo, second. All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thank you and see you next year.